Hello and welcome to Universus. Today we're talking about the pizza-loving, cowabunga-chugging, sewer-dwelling, skating, absolute monstrous Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They have the power of the half shell and they're coming to our game in August of next year. And I think I found what we're going to be adapting them from. For those who are not aware, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is over 40 years old now, having started off as a comic series in 1983 when none of the Turtles were distinguishable from each other. They didn't have the different coloured headbands, and it was a very violent, very graphic, very gritty comic. But this was also at the time when you could get kids' toys of R-rated movies like Terminator and RoboCop. So it was a completely different time, and it kind of makes sense. Then in 1986, 1987, it got adapted into a 20-minute long toy ad. I mean children's cartoon, where the Turtles were more fleshed out. They were given more character. They were given their different coloured headbands. They were given all these new toys and new equipment, and it adapted and got new comics, and we got all the toys that they were pushing, and we got one of the greatest theme tunes of all time. And I think it's Chuck Lorre doesn't get enough credit for coming up with that. I only know that because of an Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt episode. Don't. But after that, we get the live action movies, which were an icon of my childhood. I absolutely love them, including the third one, Do Not Come At Me. Yeah, Turtles have sort of just evolved and grown into every aspect of culture throughout their 40-year run. They keep getting readapted, redone. There was a live action series which took the Turtles in a completely different direction with a new fifth turtle, Venus de Milo, that explored more Chinese culture. There was the time travel third movie. There's been multiple animated interpretations of them throughout the 90s, throughout the early 2000s, and then again in the 2010s, start with Teenage Mutant Turtles Rise of the Turtles, something like that. That was in 2017. That was brought back up in Netflix recently, about 2022. There was also the Michael Bay ones, which they're fine. They are fine. They could have been done better personally, but they were fine. And there's so much to cover. I'm even going over my own head. They've had Christmas specials. We wish you a Turtle Christmas. They've done ads for the LA transit system where you see the Turtles going on the LA. They've had concerts and going around with the Turtles out of their shelter. They've been on Oprah, where I think Michelangelo even hit on April O'Neil during the interview with Oprah, which is absolutely hilarious. They have just been a mainstay in there, and Turtles have had their own games before. Ask anyone who had a NES. The Turtles NES game was just impossible to beat. I'm pretty sure it was completely broken and unbeatable. Turtles is one of those ones that keeps getting reimagined, keeps getting redone, and is very, very cool. The only one I really take up issue with is the new one, the Rise of the Mutants or Rise of the Turtles, because it boiled down their personalities. It was more Teen Titan Go-esque, where all of them kind of shared this goofy, wacky personality with a little bit of their original personalities. But I say original, of their initial personalities actually seeping out. You lost all the major angst of Ralph and the middle child syndrome he really had. Everyone became essentially contours of Michelangelo and one-note characters, and I really didn't like that. Yeah, it's been really, really cool. There still has been some dark stuff going in the background. You had the Last Ronin, which is what I really hoped we would get. I was hoping for a Last Ronin challenger, and maybe we still will. Challengers have not all been announced. If we can get a Last Ronin challenger, that would be huge. But to me, not to take away from the fact that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is itself a multi-IP conglomerate. It has done crossovers with Batman in comics and movie form. It has been in Power Rangers comics, and it has been in Power Rangers episodes. They've done X-Files, He-Man, even Garfield. Turtles have messed about with Garfield. Where, as the design team, what do you adapt from? As much as I would love to see an across the Turtleverse kind of set, without it being like a 600 card set, there's no way to please everyone in that set, and some people are just going to get angry. So I think that's a bad move. Plus, anyone under the age of 30 is not really going to get or appreciate the live action cards. They're just going to complain about the fact you can see the puppeteer's face in the mouth. That still haunts my dreams sometimes. But are we going to be adapting then the rise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? The 2022 Second Life on Netflix makes it very relevant. It's up there with the kids, and it'll be great for new players and players who kind of grew up on the rise of TMNT over the last few years. I think not. Don't get me wrong, but we didn't really see much from the actual trailer we got from the roadmap, and there are Attack on Titan and Death Note and other references within TMNT, but I don't think that's where we're going. I think that Godzilla has opened a door that was recently unexplored, and I think that is where we're going. So before Godzilla, we were only doing kind of screenshots and our own kind of art with Vox Machina. Godzilla showed us how good comic books can look in this game, how they capture action, how they capture the actual movement and threats of the cards. And then with manga from Attack on Titan, we got to see how impactful and how amazingly artists can capture the action of attacks and the depth of a foundation of an asset, how to put the pressure that something is putting out onto a single panel or a single page, as opposed to a anime or a TV show or an animated series like Star Trek Lower Decks, which has got that audio visual key to actually do it. You can't put music, you can't put tone into a comic. So I think that the IDW comic series is the perfect place for us to start. At the moment in the IDW comics, the brothers are spread out across the world, and they're all doing their own thing, and they're fleshing out the characters, and they're being their own ninjas. But in January, we get IDW issue number 6, which is going to be a jump-on point for anyone new to the series, anyone new to the IP, and anyone new to TMNT. And to me, that is ringing alarm bells in my head that this is the perfect opportunity for UVS and Universus to jump on as well and go, here's this established IP, go read the comics, but we're adapting. Number 6 will have their greatest challenge yet, face the Turtles back in New York, and will bring the brothers back from where they are around the world into New York, and this allows for us to have some very cool abilities, some very cool powers, and some very cool cards that will interact with the journey these brothers have taken in the previous issues, as well as what they're going to be doing moving forward. I think this is very, very cool. We're going to see some very cool assets. And if you look at the art for IDW number 6, the art that we've seen, they've brought some amazing teams for this. We're seeing George Fornes, who will be the cover artist for the series. They've also brought on Juan Ferreira, who's done spine-tingling Spider-Man. Will be joining Jason Aaron, who will also be a part of the rotating team of artists. And the depth of this art, I can immediately see how this art can be adapted into amazing looking cards. As cool as it would be to have the 90s kind of style, one of the biggest complaints we got about Yu Yu Hakusho was the look of the cards was a bit dated in their art because we were adapting a show from the 90s. We were able to remaster it, we were able to touch it up. It does look a lot better than the 90s anime, but there's only so much you can enhance. When you look at screenshots, people do not like the screenshots. I don't think we'll ever really get the live action stuff. We may get interpretations of the live action, but to me, the IDW comic makes the most sense. The IDW comic is where I would go, and personally, I think this is where UVS are going. I want a manhole cover or a sewer cover knuckle duster as an asset. I want to see the staffs, I want to see nunchucks, I want to see all their weapons as assets. And yes, you can still bring back fan favorites. Give us Bebop and Rocksteady, give us Kang, give us Shredder, because Shredder is on. The Foot Clan is going to be there. The Foot Clan would make perfect evil backups. That would be absolutely amazing. You just have Foot Soldier backup. It would be absolutely really cool. April O'Neil, again, a great backup. I want to see all of them coming in. You can have Casey Jones. Casey Jones is going to be a fan favorite. Everybody loves Casey Jones. I don't know if he's part of the IDW series, but I imagine he will be. And if they're out of the city, he has probably taken up the mantle and has been fighting the crime stuff. So we're going to see a more jaded, gritty Casey Jones than we've seen in the past altogether. And he was already a pretty jaded guy to begin with. He just had that sense of humor to go with it. If he's been fighting the foot all alone while they've been gone, he could be all... I don't know too much about the IDW series, but it looks absolutely amazing. I may have to try and get myself some IDW comics and read up on it and make sure I'm up to date, because I believe this is the direction that UVS is going to go, and the IDW comics is going to be our gateway into it, as disappointing as that will be for everybody else. But if they were going to go with the original series, why would they not just use the original logos? The logo we got for TMNT was new, it was clean, it was hype. If you were going for the past stuff, why not use the old stuff? Why not go? It's a nostalgia set. UVS and other companies get to know what's coming in advance, and although we've only just been told recently that issue number 6 is going, I imagine if UVS has been working with comic books and manga and anime, they know more about what's coming up in the future than we do, and that is why they're able to immediately prepare and know what they want. And TMNT issue IDW number 6, to me, makes perfect sense. And I've got some other theories about challengers, but I would also love to see a Last Ronin challenger, because I do believe the movie's still in the works, and it would also tie into the fact we're adapting more comics. The fact we're bringing in so many different forms of media now. We've got fighting games back. We've got anime still. We've got manga. We're getting more fantasy series. We've got, thanks to Critical Role, we've got so many cool things that we're drawing from every single one. It makes it very hard to predict, especially with something like TMNT, which is 40 years old and has adapted itself into all forms of media. As much as I would love a Out of Their Shells or a Christmas special or an LA ad or a live action one, maybe that'll be the Gen Con promos. Maybe we'll get some cheeky nostalgia Gen Con promos back from like the original TMNT, because it does come out in August around the same time. That would be really cool. Did you see the four brothers, Splinter and April, as Gen Con promos going back to their original, well, to their initial cartoon series? But although I would absolutely love to see a Pearl or Obsidian-esque style Gen Con promo that dates all the way back to their 1983 designs. Basically, if they've got the license, if they've got the creative license and they've got the license to do whatever they want with TMNT, the alt arts and the promos and everything else that they can dive into is absolutely insane. And I know it's essentially still 10 months away, but this is one of the most hyped IPs for next year, with so many people looking forward to it. As soon as this was announced, I was like, I need to write a script, I need to record a video. It is coming out a bit later, because I've already got a bit of a backlog and AOT previews kind of keep pushing stuff back. But what do you think? Are you familiar with the ADW comic series? Do you think this is the direction that the set should going or will be going in? And what would you do with TMNT? How could you do it? And of course, the question of the season: what can UVS do to enhance your experience as a player? Let me know in the comments below. I will filter them through to the appropriate sources. And Calabunga!